Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the high-stakes, highly lucrative, and rapidly evolving world of health and safety professionals out in the Gulf region. If you've ever wanted to know exactly what it takes to protect thousands of lives on the planet's most ambitious construction projects, you are definitely in the right place.
Let's kick things off with a massive question. What actually stands between a catastrophic, headline-making accident and a totally normal, highly productive day on a multi-billion-dollar oil rig? The answer is the safety officer. They are literally the frontline guardians. And as we're going to see, their roles are becoming more critical, and the qualifications required are getting way more complex than ever before.
Section 1. The Daily Frontline. To really grasp the big macro-level industry shifts coming our way in 2026, we kind of have to zoom all the way in first. There's a quote from the HSE study guide that just hits the nail on the head regarding the daily grind. Striking a balance between enforcing safety measures and meeting project deadlines can be tricky. It's like walking a tightrope, right? You are the ultimate safety net against accidents, but you also can't just grind a mega project to a halt over a little bit of dust. But at the exact same time, you absolutely cannot let a fatal hazard slide.
So how does that actually play out? Well, the morning is all about being proactive. You're out there running toolbox talks and doing site inspections, trying to catch hazards before the heavy machinery even fires up. Then midday rolls around, and you shift to monitoring, checking critical gear, fire extinguishers, PPE. And the afternoon? That's when things often get reactive. Investigating incidents, updating protocols, it's a non-stop cycle of just exhausting constant vigilance.
Which brings us to Section 2. High-stakes golf challenges. Now imagine taking that grueling daily routine and dropping it into one of the most intense operating environments on Earth. In Saudi Arabia alone, expatriates make up over 70% of the private sector workforce. So as a safety officer, you aren't just looking out for physical risks like falling scaffolding or rogue cranes. You are actively managing a massive, multilingual human puzzle with teams from India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Egypt, all working side by side. And that kind of diversity brings some really unique friction points. Take communication styles, for instance. A Western employee might speak up directly in a safety meeting and point out a flaw, whereas a South Asian employee might stay completely quiet out of cultural deference, even if they're looking right at a glaring hazard. That is not just a quirky HR issue. On a chaotic site, that is a literal life-or-death communication barrier. You basically have to be part engineer, part diplomat.
Oh, and on top of all those cultural hurdles, you are battling the environment itself. In places like Qatar, preventing heat stress is way more than just yelling, "drink water," at your team. Safety officers are using hardcore technical standards, like the WBGT index, to track exact thermal strain. They're enforcing incredibly strict work rest cycles, deploying cooling vests, and setting up air-conditioned rest shelters. It is a highly scientific operation just to keep people alive and functioning in brutal heat.
Section 3. A real safety profile.
We've talked abstractly about these demands, but who is actually out there doing this job on the ground? Let's talk about Mohammed Furqan Ahmed. He's an environmental science grad holding an active NEBOSH IGC, which is basically the globally recognized gold standard certificate in occupational health and safety. He's out there managing safety compliance on massive Royal Commission projects in Yanbu, Saudi Arabia. This is exactly the kind of professional guarding these sites.
And a profile like his really brings this all down to earth. His day-to-day isn't just vaguely checking boxes on a clipboard, it's issuing permits to work for insanely dangerous tasks like hot work and confined space entry. It's snapping photos of violations and throwing down stop work notices to freeze unsafe operations instantly. He's even leading Rescue 112 emergency drills. It just shows how high-level, abstract policies get translated into gritty, tactical, everyday execution.
But there's also a totally hidden reality to the Gulf job market that makes someone like Mohammed stand out. Yes, the safety certifications are absolutely crucial, but it's often the logistical qualifications that make a candidate massively more employable. We're talking about things like having a Saudi driving license or a transferable visa. If a company knows they can hire you today and have you legally driving to a site tomorrow without dealing with months of visa red tape, you're going straight to the top of the pile. Moving into Section 4, the 2026 NEBOSH Revolution. Okay, because the stakes are just so incredibly high across the region. The global standards for proving you actually know your stuff are getting their biggest overhaul in 5 years. The NEBOS International General Certificate is completely changing its assessment for 2026. Out goes the old, simplistic met or not met grading for the practical assessment. The new setup is a hyper-precise, points-based marking system with a strict 60% pass threshold. It gives a completely transparent, detailed breakdown of exactly how well you identify hazards and evaluate risk.
They are also rolling out a unified digital submission platform, so goodbye to confusing legacy portals. But the real game changer here, there's now a strategic 10-working-day turnaround for submitting your practical assessment right after the theory test. You can't just memorize textbook answers anymore. This forces you to instantly apply what you know. It proves you're genuinely ready for the rigors of modern site management. Plus, you get an automatic mark breakdown document, so you know exactly where your professional skills stand.
And finally, Section 5, Fast-Tracking Your Career.
Now, you might be wondering, why go through the pain of passing this rigorous new standard? Simply put, the return on investment in the Gulf is staggering. Let's talk numbers. Pre-certification roles, like a safety assistant, usually pull in around 3,000 to 4,000 dirhams a month. But the second you lock down that NEBOSH IGC, you're jumping to safety engineer roles making 4,000 to 10,000 dirhams. Stick with it, grab a diploma, and as an HSE manager, you're commanding 10,000 to over 25,000 dirhams monthly. You are literally doubling or tripling your earning potential.
And the scale of these opportunities, it's unlike anywhere else in the world. Right now, a whopping 83% of Gulf hiring managers are actively hunting for NEBOSH certified pros. This credential is essentially your VIP passport to the most ambitious mega projects on the planet. We're talking NEOM and the Red Sea project in Saudi Arabia, the vast UAE rail networks, or even stepping up as a high-level safety advisor for Saudi Aramco, guiding complex petrochemical safety.
The safety industry in the Gulf isn't just evolving, it is accelerating at warp speed. With these multi-billion-dollar budgets and incredibly diverse global workforces, the days of quietly ticking compliance boxes are completely over. So the real question you have to ask yourself is this. In a landscape where the risks are only getting bigger, are you ready to stop just following the rules and start actually designing the safety systems of tomorrow? Are you ready to lead this revolution?